Robeson County 911. What's the address of your emergency?
I'm about to myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Oh man, yeah, y'all. This is the Robbie Harvey. So make sure you go subscribe. Pinned down in the description.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. Yeah, it was self-induced.
I need to know the paper trail. Who's in charge? We got a lot of assets, a lot of money to guard. It's a lot of money.
Only unto her so long as you both shall live.
And you're texting me at this point saying I'll be at your house at 12:55. I'm armed and ready.
Please.
Oh hell!
I'm so depressed. I want to die. I'm battling suicidal thoughts.
I
have unforgiveness, hatred, demons coming out of me.
She got the weapon for self-protection. She told me days beforehand.
Hey, sir. A lot of people want to know if you murdered your wife.
You know, I looked
dear
at
Lord,
her phone and I counted over the past 2 years 18 people who had texted her and said, "If you ever want to talk about your husband, you can talk to me and say anything, and I'll keep it confidential."
God of Christ, and He sees His bride going through abuse and hurts. I think He thinks about that.
One day I'm going to preach about getting rich, strong, healthy, and finding a hot wife that loves Jesus. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just kidding.
He just fell in love. That was her heart.
Walk away.
I'll show you the pictures.
Do you want to go to jail?
oh Lord.
Alrighty, you'll be in jail in a few hours.
So I texted him, and he pretty much immediately just started begging for nude.
One thing I have great peace about between me, God, and my wife is that I was the best husband I could possibly be. And if I wanted to do it over again, I don't think I could have done any better.
Man, that is crazy as hell.
That moments before Micah died, John Paul Miller was tracking her.
Yeah. And honestly, it sent a shiver down my spine.
11:38 in the morning.
Miller,
Micah Miller leaves her apartment and heads for work. And according to multiple people who spoke to Micah hours before her death, they say yes, she was stressed about her pending divorce from Pastor John Paul Miller. But they also say she was in good spirits. And we even know the podcast that Micah was listening to right before her death. It was a podcast encouraging her that it was going to be okay to leave her husband, that it was going to be okay to begin her new life. Because Micah, who loved the Lord, truly believed that divorce was wrong, according to the Bible.
I wrote a book on this with these 2 words as the title. And the 2 words are necessary endings.
She was really struggling with the decision to serve her pastor husband with divorce papers and a restraining order request just days before her death. But that
Lord
wasn't the only decision that she was struggling with. She struggled with turning in the one place that she loved with all of her heart. She turned her church into the IRS. This caused a lot of stress and turmoil in her life and within her relationship with a crumbling marriage between her and John Paul Miller.
Please stop, Micah, stop! Stop! I don't have your purse.
And she tried her best to solve this peacefully. But it seems Micah's mind was made up. She had decided to move on. And according to friends and family, she was becoming her old self once again. But on April 26th...
That's the part, y'all. Everybody always says that. They're like, no, she seemed like doing something like that was the furthest thing from possible. What do y'all make of that?
7th, 2024, after leaving for work, something happened. And Micah didn't show up. And she showed up at Dick's...
She's in her work clothes right there.
...pawn shop to purchase a firearm. And according to friends and family, she had been talking about it for several days to protect herself because she feared for her life. But the police have a different story. They say this is where she purchased the weapon and this is when she decided to take her own. From there, she drove to a North Carolina state park where she supposedly pulled the trigger herself. But it's the route that she took to get there that bring a lot more questions than answers.
Right.
Now, we all know the story by now. She stopped by a gas station, purchased a few things along with some gas, and then headed to Lumber River State Park where her life ended. But now there's new information that has forced me to go back and look at every detail regarding that day.
Oh, hell.
For example, many of you believe that Micah was being tracked that day, being followed. And according to Charlotte Korn, Micah's best friend, she had a conversation with John Paul just hours after Micah's death. And she believes John Paul admitted that he was indeed tracking Micah that day. So you believe that moments before Micah died, John Paul Miller was tracking her?
Yep. And it honestly kind of sent a shiver down my spine.
But there's a couple more things that many have not caught on to. For example, take a look at this truck pulling into the parking lot and immediately backing out. Pretty odd, considering the truck
kind of creepy
didn't do a U-turn. It continued
That's
down
right,
the route that it was already on. A few minutes later, Micah walks out of Dick's pawn shop. But instead of going straight to the state park, Micah went the opposite direction and stopped at a random gas station 40 minutes out of the way. According to multiple people who live in Myrtle Beach, they say that this route makes no sense if she was heading to the state park. And take a look at the gas station itself. It's not exactly a beacon of cleanliness.
He says not exactly a beacon of cleanliness. Damn.
Friends and family of Micah say she would never stop at a gas station like this, unless she had a reason. And when the surveillance footage was released, thousands around the world scoured through it, looking for that infamous blue truck that John Paul Miller is known to drive. But on this day, that truck was nowhere near Micah Miller. It was far south of Myrtle Beach, hours away from where Micah was. But what if we were looking for the wrong vehicle? Remember this photo? Just 4 days after Micah passed away, John Paul Miller was seen in a restaurant parking lot with Susie Skinner. This is nothing new. We've all known this. But we haven't known what happened immediately afterwards. Until now.
Oh,
you
hell.
were the one who took the picture of John Paul and Susie in the restaurant parking lot just days after Micah's death.
That's correct.
This is Angela Clark, and her husband are very familiar with John Paul Miller. So familiar, they would consider themselves good friends for many, many years.
Oh, hell.
We walked back through the mall and exited up near where the restaurant was. And as we were walking toward our car, because the mall was closed,
Sherry,
there were
right?
cars there, I would say maybe 5-6 cars in the area that we were parked. And as we walked toward the car, I looked up and there was a car with a Solid Rock sticker on the back of it. And I remember clearly thinking, God, what are you trying to say right now? I just need a break from this right now. You know, my heart was hurting. And as I looked up, I saw the profile of a man and realized very quickly that it was John Paul. I did not know the woman that was with him, but it was clear that there was a very serious conversation going on. They were standing very closely together. It was disturbing to me. I had been told about Susie by Micah. I do not know Susie. I did not know what she looked like. I didn't know anything about her. But my husband just kind of squeezed my hand and said, you know, let's just get in the car. As we were backing out, I told my husband to stop for a second, and I just snapped the picture really quickly, more out of curiosity whether this was the woman that Micah had shared with me she felt like John Paul was having an affair with. And I sent it to someone who would know, and to find out if that was who it was, because it was clear. One man, one woman, kind of an intimate looking setting in a parking lot, very serious conversation. To me, as her friend,
oh, hell.
It went all over me. I was very upset. As we backed out, he looked up right when I snapped the picture. I don't know that he knew it was us. He would have known us. I mean, we were very much in their lives. We did life with them when we were at the church. So we traveled together. We had dinner together. We did things together. So he would have known us. But as we backed out, John Paul kind of ran between the cars closer toward our car, kind of threw his hands up like he was disgusted.
After the photo was taken, John Paul Miller, who drove separately from Susie that night, jumped into his truck, and he began to follow Angela and her husband.
And as we pulled out, the truck ran up on her.
Drove separately? Oh, hell. How you going to take a girl on a date and tell her to meet you there? Oh, man, that's crazy as hell.
Our bumper. We made the left. The truck made the left. He followed us around that frontage road, following us very closely on our bumper. And you have to realize this is a completely empty parking lot. And, you know, there's part of me, I know that my friend has been shot in the head. I don't know the details of her death at this point. I do know the stories that I was being told by her. And my husband's ex-police. He's not scared of John Paul. I mean, he knows how to handle himself in every situation. He's pretty good at it. And he was pretty angry, you know, that he was following us like that. And I mean, let's face it, emotions were raw. We were raw. You know what I mean? Micah had come back into our lives, you know, within that last month, and we had not seen her or been around her other than just cordially social, you know, just in public settings, hugged her neck, you know, that kind of thing. And we had really connected. She was going to church with us. She was, Micah was doing well. So I was really in a bad place with her death. I just, knowing the stories that she had been telling me and how rough things had been for her, I just didn't want a confrontation with John Paul.
But here,
I mean, the craziest part is literally that we've heard like the recording where she goes, if anything ever happens to me, or not the recording, but like she told her sister that or whatever, or maybe there's a recording. I feel like I've heard it, that if anything ever happens, she ends up with a, what? Did it? You know what I'm talking about? Like, holy hell. It's crazy. Who says that? I don't know, y'all. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. This is crazy as hell. By the way, TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new. I see some new people coming in. Tap the screen like crazy for me. Thank you for the little donut things. Y'all are sweet. Thanks for supporting the show. YouTube, we got 100 likes. Let's go for 200. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. And TikTok, if you want to watch the videos with us, like actually see the videos, you can. You just got to come over to YouTube, search The Mystery Project, and you can find it. Come on over. We hit 17,000, like what, a live stream ago, 2 live streams ago. Now we're at 17,163 subscribers, y'all. Crazy. Let's keep going.
Here's the interesting part of it all. John Paul Miller wasn't driving the blue Ford F-150 that we've all come to know. He was driving a dark, charcoal F-150.
Oh, hell.
So everyone's been focused on the blue truck, even Robinson County Sheriff's Department. But you were really the first one to come to me and say he didn't drive a blue truck. He drove this dark gray Ford F-150. And we've all seen the surveillance footage, and there is a dark Ford F-150 circling the gas station parking lot multiple times. And though we don't know if that's the truck that John Paul owns, but what do you think? Do you think that could be the truck?
I definitely had that feeling. I had a very strong feeling about that from the beginning. I brought it to several people. Everybody kind of dismissed it.
Who was saying that this got debunked?
Everybody was talking about a blue truck.
Did it actually? Is this not that truck at all?
I wasn't even aware. Like I said, John Paul wasn't really in our life. We had seen him before Micah reconnected with me. We saw him at Barnes & Noble in Market Common. He was definitely driving the silver truck that day. We all went to the parking lot at the same time. He got in the truck in front of us and drove off. And then, of course, the incident in the mall parking lot, he was in that dark truck as well. And someone said to me, no, he's got a blue truck. And I'm like, I don't know if he's got a blue truck or not. He was definitely driving a dark gray truck both times that we've seen him.
And one of the reasons Angela was dismissed about this theory for so long is because no such truck exists under the registration for John Paul or Solid Rock.
He forced me to be his friend.
Right?
Forced me to be his best man.
Introducing Mark Kaufman, best buddies with John Paul Miller, and at the time co-owner of Crocodile Rocks, a local bar in Myrtle Beach. That's right, a pastor, co-owner of a bar. And guess whose name this truck is registered under? That's right, Mark Kaufman's. Once finding out about the truck, I reached out to multiple current and former members of Solid Rock Church. They all confirmed that John Paul did indeed drive a dark-colored Ford F-150. And some say that in certain settings, the truck could be considered black, depending on what time of day it is. And to make this even more interesting, there's this. Just weeks after Micah died, and not long after he was seen driving the truck following Angela and her husband, the truck was sold, and it hasn't been seen since. Do we know that this is the same truck in the surveillance footage? No, we do not. But the point of this is, neither does Robinson County Sheriff's Department, who I assume probably have no clue about this truck until watching this video. And that's the point.
Oh, hell.
From the gas station, Micah heads toward Lumber River State Park, a 40-minute drive. And according to police, Micah Googles a state park, gets directions, and when she arrives, she wades through knee-to-waist-high water in a restricted part of the park, and then takes her own life. But before doing so, Micah calls 911. Listen.
Robinson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see. You don't know where you're at?
A national park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843-655-5242.
Where's
Sorry, y'all.
the park located?
Sometimes that gets tink. You can't give out those things.
That.
In Fair Bluff.
Let's see.
I have my location on, I think, on my phone. Find my phone is on. I just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing, hold on one second. I don't think you are in Robinson County.
What?
Are you at the Lumber River State Park? And
Yeah, that's where I am.
tell me what's happened.
I'm about to. I just want my family to know where to find me.
Ugh.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
Just 1 minute. Ah! How can you not be like, ma'am, hold on a second. Talk to me. What's going on? And then immediately, panic button, send people to the location. Oh, no, I don't think it's, no, we haven't been able to find you yet. Hold on. Stay on the phone with me. Just hang on 1 second. Nope, it's still not working. Hold up. What happened? What's going on? Right? Oh, it's so weird.
In the call, Micah claims that she doesn't know where she's at. But how is this possible? According to the police's own evidence, she Googled where she was going, and it clearly states where she's going. Along with that, there's a massive sign at the entrance of the park letting her know where she is. And not only that, according to John Paul Miller himself, yes, according to John Paul Miller, Micah had plans to take her life in this very park.
So far, the four people she spent the most time with every week, no one's interviewed or talked to those four people. And one of those people that I talked to told me that she told her 2 years ago, if I ever commit to this place in Lumberton, the state park or something like that.
Directions on her phone, a massive sign at the entrance of the park, and John Paul claiming she had plans to go to this very park and take her life.
Oh, my word.
So now we have to question, is the 911 call fake? AI has been discussed a lot in this case, and I have to be honest, I've never considered the 911 call fake until I got my own fake phone call of someone accusing me of something that I never did.
Oh, hell, I remember this one. This is crazy as hell. Amanda, I do read them. It's hard to respond to everything, but I read them all. Don't worry, y'all.
Listen,
If he doesn't stop texting my daughter about he's going to jail.
Oh hell, I remember this one.
Well, who is your daughter?
My daughter's 17. She's a minor, so that is none of your business.
Well, do you have the
If he
proof?
doesn't stop, he's going to jail. This is the phone number it's coming from. Is this Robbie Harvey that's on YouTube? Not Micah Miller every day on once? Yes, it is. If he doesn't stop, I'm posting it everywhere, and he's going to jail.
Oh my God.
It's of my opinion that Micah's 911 call is fake. The question is whether it's AI or an impersonator, like the phone call that I got. And according to everyone I've spoken with, they say it sounds like Micah, but all of them say it's not her. And they may have a point. Just a few days ago, multiple 911 calls were released, and Micah is in almost all of them. Listen to her cadence. Listen to her tone. Listen to how she speaks. It's clearly very different than the 911 call made on April 27th.
Yeah, there's a laptop there that's got naked pictures of me on it, and
What? Got what?
there's
What?
people staying at my house that I didn't invite into my house, and I'm out of town, so I was just hoping there would be a wellness check and make sure there's no cars parked at my house that I don't recognize the license plate of, or if you just take down those license plate numbers for me to review later, just to do a wellness check.
Are you able to trace the location of my phone?
You don't know where you're at?
And National Park.
We're legally separated. We both have lawyers or pursuing divorce.
Copy.
And he took possession of my items while being hospitalized.
I will put this in here for an officer. I'm not sure what to do.
And it's my phone, my laptop, and my car. And my phone and laptop have naked pictures of me on them.
What pictures?
843-655-5242. I have my location on, I think, on my phone.
Where he's put his hands on me, and he's on an antipsychotic medicine that he's misusing, and I even got off the phone with the pharmacy. He didn't pick up his latest prescription, which he should have on January 3rd. And I believe at this point, based on the people that he's come in contact with, some of them reported to me that based on how he was talking, they feared he had killed and...
I mean, y'all, that does not sound like the same person. Like, it's much different. It's not even like a little bit where you're like, oh, maybe she had a cold. You know, because sometimes you get a little bit of a cold, you start talking like that. No, it didn't even sound like that. Like, even the way she's phrasing words and like he says cadence, and I hear that, but I hear more in the spacing of the words. You know what I mean? Like, if you go back and watch my live streams, like, it's kind of the same rhythm and the same spacing and the same, I go like this and I'm like that and then I'm like this and I go, what the hell is going on? Right? And you can hear it and go, okay, yeah, I picked that up. The one phone call that she's talking right there, it sounds like, there's not a lot of space. And then on this other call, it's like every word that she says, there's a big old pause right in the middle of it. So if you heard my voice talking like this, it would start to sound pretty strange after a while, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? Listen to that again.
I'm about to... And I just want my family to know where to find me.
That's about the quickest you heard it right there. Family where to find me.
At 1:38 p.m., Micah Miller leaves the gas station.
But who knows, y'all? Who knows?
And she does something really interesting. She circles the gas station. From there, she heads to Lumber River State Park, and at 2:54 p.m., she calls 911, and then her life has ended. At 3:31 p.m., police arrive. Then at 4:23 p.m., Micah's body is found with markings on her hand, and it looks like someone has grabbed her forearm. So let's say that Micah's 911 call is fake. That means from the moment she left the gas station at 1:38 p.m. to the moment when her body was found at 4:23 p.m., Micah wasn't heard or seen for multiple hours. We've already discussed that the route she took was way out of the way from Dick's pawn shop. Now take a look at the route from the gas station to the state park. And look what's right in the middle. The property of Tom Winslow.
AI. Who would have thought that in a legal scenario 20 years ago when I started practicing that AI would be the next lawyer? Out in Oklahoma, they just tried a case regarding a speeding ticket using AI, speaking to the defendant to kind of tell them what to say in terms of research. It's going to become more and more prevalent as we move forward in our legal world.
Tom Winslow is the attorney for John Paul Miller, and we have seen him a lot in recent weeks. But I do not believe that Tom is involved with Micah's death. Matter of fact, I don't know if Tom is involved at all, other than simply trying to help a friend. But according to multiple sources, John Paul Miller has access to Tom's property. And since Micah's death, several witnesses have seen him heading exactly that direction.
Oh, man. Desiree, thank you.
The day that Micah died has always been about what makes more sense. Do we believe the pastor who's been accused of being with multiple children and has text messages saying that he has dated 14-year-old girls? Do we believe the man who's had an affair with prostitutes and posted nude photos of his wife?
Dear Lord in heaven.
A man who went into a rage after finding out that his wife was with another man,
for that.
moving on with her life, and then he allegedly slashed her tires multiple times. A man who claims he hired a PI to prevent his wife from purchasing a weapon, yet she did exactly just that.
Show me a way out. So,
Oh, my
mind
word.
you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately that I'm God's bride first.
That's true.
And even an earthly spouse who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does?
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, I got music in here. Sorry, I gotta skip it.
Friend led to this hospitalization, but yet last year allowed Micah to purchase an ice bath that sat in their very home. And when Micah decided to leave, he sold her ice bath, the one that she was paying for with her own money.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Just one more thing. Back in February of 2024, hours within Micah being admitted into the hospital, John Paul Miller jumped on the phone. He began calling family law attorneys, looking for a divorce attorney. And he called this lady. This is Melissa, a paralegal at a local Myrtle Beach family law firm. Melissa, when someone calls you, what's the process when they're looking for an attorney?
When we take a call, I screen them to determine if it's a case that we can take at this time. And that can be based on just how many contested cases we currently have versus the time we could devote to someone's case. Also, maybe the fact patterns on their case. So there's various questions that we ask to try to get not just basic information, but a little more detail to determine if it's something that we would be able to take on.
Oh, hell.
According to you, when John Paul Miller called, you said that there's a lot of red flags in the conversation you had with him.
Yes, there were a lot of red flags. Yes. He used the words that he had forced her into the mental hospital and that as of that day, she was in the mental hospital. And the call was on February 7th. He went on to say she'd been in and out of the mental hospital 5 to 6 times. He actually used the words, I've tricked her into getting help. And she's been in and out of the mental hospital 5 to 6 times.
Oh my God.
One of the things that stuck out to me in the call is that he continuously kept reiterating that he was a pastor. And it was like, okay, to say that the first time or two, that's fine. You know, you're just giving me your background. But when he continued to say it throughout the entire call, especially as he was talking about her mental health and the reasons that he wanted a divorce, to me, it was a red flag, almost like you weren't trying to just tell me who you were, but rather make me believe that you were a good person or maybe build some type of character. So one of the questions he did keep asking me in the call was, is my attorney a shark? Was his exact words that he used. And so I answered it politically correct. I said, well, she's very passionate about her clients. She will work hard for you if she represents you. You know, she will fight with passion, like it's her own case. That wasn't a good enough answer for him. He kept saying, well, I really need a shark. And towards the end of the call, one of the statements that really stuck out to me as a red flag is he used the words, I need someone who can destroy her. was exactly what he said to me.
Man,
I need to destroy her.
And I want to be clear. You
crazy as hell for that one.
At this time, had no clue who John Paul Miller was, had no clue who Micah was.
No, I'd never met either of them, never heard of either of them.
And according to you, John Paul Miller told you he wanted an attorney who would destroy his wife.
Yes, he made that statement. He made the statement about wanting a shark several times. And the very last statement he made on the topic was, I need someone who can destroy her.
Lord.
John Paul Miller saw Micah as a threat. She knew too much. Micah had the keys to bring down the empire. And she began that process. And he knew that she was serious when he was served with divorce papers and a protection order request days before she died. So after everything that I have shown you today, what makes more sense about that day?